you're like, I don't want to be next to you.
Good evening, and thanks so much for joining us on Atlanta News First Plus for our extended online coverage of Chasing the Championship. I'm Rick Fulbaum.
And I'm Sean Gables, joined by Atlanta News First Sports Director Fred Khalil. Fred, a championship, this is happening finally. We've waited months for this, and now we're going to have someone crowned tonight. Vegas is already betting that the Dogs are going to take this.
A big-time favorite, you know, and it would be the first in a playoff era if the Dogs can go back-to-back. TCU provided a little credibility, though, I think, for the Big 12 with its win over Michigan, so we're going to see what happens later tonight.
All right, well, we are very excited. We're now under 1 hour away from kickoff, and we're going to be here with you. We'll take you all the way up to the start of the game.
So let's start with Atlanta News First sports anchor Emily Gagnon and Dog Nation reporter Mike Griffith. They are live inside SoFi Stadium right now. And guys, the atmosphere, explain it for us or here at home. What does it feel like right now?
You know, I think that many fans and players are pretty shocked at how cool it is right now in SoFi Stadium. It's an open-air stadium. I had no idea it was going to be this chilly. Players on the field warming up right now. Will this affect the game at all?
Yeah, when you say cool, she doesn't mean like cool. She means like cold cool. Like, this is not supposed to be Southern California weather. Not exactly what we expected. Pretty new and tight turf, though. Regardless of the temperature, it's who can get hot on the turf, get their offense going early, Emily.
And players don't love playing on turf. Let's be clear about that. They really don't love it.
I think it could be to Georgia's advantage, though. When you got a guy like Arian Smith, and you noted this before the game, when you talk about talent, here's a guy that caught 3 passes all year. He catches 3 passes for 129 in one game. 10-1, 800-meter speed. I think that could be a big factor. I like the Dogs on this turf.
It's crazy because, again, Arian Smith, 6 catches for 195 yards all season. 129 of those yards, I can't say it enough, came in the Peach Bowl on the biggest stage up until that moment with a touchdown that changed the game. And you know what Ladd McConkey told me? He has speed that scares people. Right. And I said, that's a really big compliment from Ladd McConkey. I do think McConkey will have limited playing time tonight. What do you think?
Well, I think so, too. I mean, Ladd does so many things. We'll find out early if he's back for punts. That's an indication that he's fine. But, you know, Kyrus Jackson did a really nice job as a punt returner. Had a nice catch, too. Thing about Georgia, so many weapons. You'll see early on Todd Monken kind of feeling out this 3-3-5 defense, see where it's soft, and then the Dogs will find the players to exploit them wherever they can find those weaknesses.
And we're going to go to the biggest news right now. Darnell Washington on the field. You can't see him from our vantage point, but we were just watching him out on the field, running around, catching balls. I do expect for him to play tonight. And you know what? He really wanted to play in this game because it's on the West Coast. He hasn't been able to play on the West Coast. He's from Las Vegas. For anybody watching who doesn't understand that this means a lot for him because of his family being here.
Yeah, it would mean a lot for Georgia, too. We talked about a 3-3-5 alignment. When you put Darnell Washington out there at 6'7", 285, it's like another offensive tackle. But what it really does is create another gap. And now all of a sudden with that 3-3-5, you say, oh my gosh, who are we going to have to go up against this big guy that can block us as well as catch passes? So from a schematic standpoint, this really adds to the playbook and would really put TCU at a disadvantage if Big Zero Darnell can go.
They call him Big O for a reason. He has that nickname absolutely for a reason. Let's move on. I got to say something that I remember very clearly from Saturday. Sonny Dykes, he said that he thinks if his team can run the ball consistently, they will be successful against Georgia's defense because it will put pressure on Georgia's defense. In my opinion, if Georgia can stop the run, that front seven can stop the run and affect the quarterback, that's their key to win. Would you say that Sonny Dykes is right when he says if he's running the ball really well against Georgia, that the win could go in TCU's favor?
Yeah, that would really be a big factor because if you're able to run the ball, that sets up play action and it puts the defense in run-pass conflict. They don't know if you're running or passing. That's why the first thing Georgia always tries to do is take away the run, make them one-dimensional. Pay close attention to those first down plays. If TCU stays ahead of the sticks, 4 yards or more on first down, it could be a long night for the Georgia defense, but if they're unable to run and they're throwing incomplete on first down, I expect Georgia's defense to dominate, Emily.
And listen, I talked to Javon Bullard during media day, the defensive MVP of the Peach Bowl, and I asked him, do you cringe at all? Do you cringe knowing you've given up 71 points in the last 2 games? You know, the Georgia's defense struggles defending the pass. Do you think that TCU has seen that in the last 2 games?
Yeah, well, TCU got the gift of 28 points essentially from Michigan. They did have 2 pick sixes, something to keep an eye on, but also 2 goal line stops. That's going to be really interesting. You mentioned Javon Bullard. Georgia's got to turn them over. You can give up some yardage, but you got to get some turnovers and help your offense too.
All right, guys, Mike Griffith from AJC's Dog Nation. We're here for you all night. But I'm going to send it back to you in the studio for now.
Okay, hold on 1 second. Before you let him go, I've got a question, Emily. All right, now with Darnell Washington banged up, what will that do with Brock Bowers as far as coverage and knowing we're 19? You know I'm always big on every time Georgia breaks the huddle, I'm going to find 19. So what will that do if Darnell's banged up?
Oh, well, listen, you can't compare Darnell Washington and Brock Bowers, right? They're completely different tight ends. Darnell is more of your traditional guy who blocks a lot. Brock Bowers, I mean, he's the receiver of all receivers but a tight end. So Fred is asking, how will Brock Bowers' role change if Darnell can't go or can't go as many minutes?
Well, I think Brock is still going to be Brock. You know, Joe Gillespie, the TCU defensive coordinator, calls him a Swiss Army knife because you just don't know what he's going to do. He can do anything. We haven't seen him throw the ball yet, but I'm going to tell you another guy that can do everything is Kenny McIntosh. You think about it, when you've got Brock and Kenny, those are 2 guys that can run the ball or catch the ball downfield deep or short and make yards after the catch. Not many teams with 2 weapons like that, Emily.
Kenny Mack and Brock Bowers, guys, they're the men.
All right, guys, thank you both very much. We'll check back with you. I like that we're here on the couch all together. Yeah. It's almost like
it's the best seat in the house.
It's like Fred invited us over to his house.
Yeah, well, I've got some chips coming.
I was going to say, where are the snacks?
Yeah.
You know, and plus we have the best seat in the house. It's 54 degrees in Southern California, nice and warm in Georgia, as well as inside the studio.
Yeah.
I will tell you right now, no one's having more fun, though, in Southern California than Alan.
Alan Devlin. Let's go to Alan. He's on the TCU sideline. And the Horned Frogs, they may be the underdog, Alan, but they should not be underestimated, right?
Oh, absolutely not. And you know what? It's very easy to see that, to feel that from the Horned Frogs. That's how it's been this entire weekend. Before I get into that, though, y'all were just talking about the weather here in Cali. Of course, when y'all send me out to California, sunny California, it's 50 degrees, rainy and cloudy. But, hey, we got a roof on the stadium, so it's working out. And, of course, the excitement, the electricity inside the stadium is going to keep us warm, right? So, back to TCU. We just heard Emily talking about UGA for a while there. I think TCU agrees with pretty much everything she just said. UGA is a massive threat, and they know that, and that is what they're banking on. That's what's going to make them better. Here, take a look at some of this video from TCU in the past. They got by Michigan, right? And no one thought they would. Everyone thought Michigan, ranked number 2, was going to be able to get on the field and make quick work of TCU, number 3. That didn't happen. Every time Michigan punched, TCU punched harder, and they had that shocking upset win and then made their way to the national championship here to face the number 1 UGA Bulldogs. I think Max Duggan specifically talked to me earlier. He said that this is a Cinderella season, but that's not what they're thinking about. They're not out here to be a Cinderella story. They're not out here to go against UGA. And actually, as I'm talking right now, I'm going to step out of the way. If you come back to me live here, TCU, the Horned Frogs, taking the field, at least some of them, to an eruption of cheers and boos. We've got a lot of Horned Frog fans in the stadium tonight, but a whole lot of UGA fans as well. I don't see quarterback Max out there right now, but of course they're out here getting ready. I'm going to step back into the camera right now, keep talking to y'all. So like I was saying, when it comes to TCU, they did not come here to lose. They're putting everything on the line tonight. They've got a 1-loss season so far, UGA undefeated, but they think they can get it done. Now, I was also talking about how one of their greatest weapons is using the fact that they're not taking UGA lightly at all. They know what they've got on their plate. Sonny Dykes, head coach of TCU, talked about that a little bit as well. He mentioned how he knows they're good. TCU just has to be better tonight. Take a listen.
So it'll be a big challenge for us. We know that. Obviously, Georgia's a team that's very, very talented. The thing that I've found most impressive about them, however, is how well coached they are. Kirby and his staff do an excellent job, really in all three phases of the game. They play hard regardless of the score, and again, I think that's a big credit to their culture they have in their program and Coach Smart and his staff. I just have a ton of respect for their football program and the way they do things.
So I want to show you something really quick. If we can look up here at this massive billboard, you can see we've got an hour, 4 minutes, and 31 seconds until kickoff, and then it all goes down. Only one team's going to win. TCU fans, the Horned Frogs, say it's going to be them. The UGA Bulldogs, of course, say it's going to be them. We're going to have to wait and see who can get it done. It's the Battle of Los Angeles, and we at Atlanta News First could not be more excited to be bringing you coverage from the sideline, as close as it gets. We couldn't make history tonight, guys.
We could, Ellen, I'm not sure, whether you're listening to facts sometimes versus propaganda. I specifically looked online.
Propaganda.
No, listen, I went online and I was reading all of the Texas newspapers' sports editions to see if they were going to say, hey, we think we're in trouble because Georgia is so good. Those newspapers, those sports reporters out there are saying, no way, TCU is winning. We hear Georgia, we're saying the Dogs are going to win. So then I deep dived into the Vegas odds. Someone just put a $500,000 bet down for the Georgia Bulldogs. So
They're 2 touchdown favorites, too.
2 touchdown favorites. That's a lot of money. A lot is on the line. There's a high roller. But if you lose, you just lost $500,000.
Hey, check this out.
Wait,
the Bulldogs just came onto the field. I'm going to cut y'all off real quick because you can hear it out here in the stadium. Bulldogs came onto the field. Right now, at least a couple of them, looks like they're about to start getting warmed up out here to, again, an eruption of boos and cheers. But, Sean, like you said, I think it's a confidence thing, right? You have to be confident. You have to be confident no matter what the odds are, no matter what Las Vegas said, no matter who's betting on what. Yeah, sure, UJ's a 2-touchdown favorite. They're not acting that way. Kirby Smart, Betson Stinnett, none of the players are acting like they're a 2-touchdown favorite. They're acting like they're the underdog. They're coming out here with the chip on their shoulder because no one's gone back-to-back in the playoff era. This could be the first time they do it. And you've got TCU pretty much doing the same thing, trying to prove that they can win a championship. People don't believe they're supposed to be here. They've got a chip on their shoulder. They're trying to come out here and take down the defending national champions and etch their name in the history books. No matter who wins tonight, the end of this game is going to be a defining moment for one football program, whether it be UGA or TCU.
Well, if TCU wins, it is going to be the Cinderella story. I mean, you'd have to go back. I mean, how many years to see an upset like that where a team that was 2 touchdowns, as an underdog to come back and win?
I mean, really, I think there are a lot of people that wondered how they got in. I mean, they lost their conference championship game, but they still got in to the playoff. And once they got in, they did their damage. So,
well, we're going to find out here shortly. Let's go to Rob Hughes and Ella Dorsey. They're live outside of SoFi Stadium. And Rob and Ella, we already heard about this. No tailgating, and some folks are still doing it.
Yeah, they're still doing it. Let's face it, it's not going to stop them. What no tailgating really meant, according to the college football playoff, was they didn't want RVs. They didn't want those big tents you see, which would have been a disaster out here anyway because it was so breezy, and they didn't want grills. But
so essentially, no tailgate. You can come park your car and drink a water. You can drink a beer in your front seat.
Right.
So essentially, no tailgate. Now, when we were walking over here, Rob, we did see a few TCU fans tailgating right out of the back of their car.
They were literally tailgating. They had their trunks open. They were sitting on the back of their bumpers.
Right.
And they had their coolers, and it was right next to a no tailgating sign.
It was
and I
hilarious.
said, hey, what are you guys doing? No tailgating, remember?
And they're like, this is how LA tailgates. Even Texas was making fun of the way California tailgates. Now again, that wasn't a SoFi rule. That came actually from the CFP committee, correct?
It sounds like that's the case, right? So it seems like they tailgate for games for the Chargers and Rams. It really doesn't matter because it's been really tough out here in terms of the rain. It actually is the best it's been in hours right now. Just a small breeze. The rain has stopped temporarily.
Yeah, so Sean, you asked me last half hour during our show if there was going to be lightning. So I went ahead and looked up the weather. It looks like it's going to be pouring down rain here by about 7 p.m. Pacific time, which is 10 p.m. Eastern time, which will be probably second half of the game. Yeah. and it looks like that rain will continue through the night. It doesn't look like there's a chance for thunder until overnight. So that's the good news. I don't think that's going to have any impact to the game, but certainly as fans walk out of the stadium today and as you guys see us later on throughout the evening, the weather's going to deteriorate pretty rapidly, and so it's just going to be messy. So I don't think fans really wanted to tailgate. Also, it's LA, so there's a lot of other things to do. There's the beach. There's 18 different cities within this city. So I think a lot of people had their own plans and then just came to the game today. I will also say, Rob, and I was just talking to you about it, I'm a little nervous because there's more TCU fans today than we've seen all weekend. No. It's almost a 50-50 split. If not, I'm seeing maybe a little bit more TCU fans.
I think Ella's being sensitive.
I'm nervous.
I think she's just seeing the purple and kind of overlooking the red we're seeing, guys. Because
Look
I'm
how
going to
much
give
there is.
to a little
Look
bit
at this.
more Dogs fans than TCU. But she's right about that. They showed up in a big way today. They have been absent all weekend until today.
Yeah, they totally have. They totally have. I mean, we haven't seen any of them. I think we saw 2 fans up until today, and now there's a lot of TCU fans. We talked to someone who said there was a party, big Texas party in Santa Monica today, so a lot of them flew in today for that. But certainly, like, when we were talking earlier, we were like, oh, man, the stadium's going to be totally red.
I was thinking 80% based on what I saw this weekend, guys, but it's definitely gotten a lot closer to 50-50.
Yeah.
Hey, Ella, it's Fred. I got to ask you about that jacket. So if they win and they go back next year, are you going to get another jacket?
No. So, Fred, I bought this on eBay right when we won the game New Year's Eve, and walking out of the stadium right after the game, there was fireworks going off. I got on eBay and won and bought this. So there's 1942 to 1980. I have to add last year's, right?
Show them the back.
And then,
so it says 2-time national championship, 1942, 1980.
So it's a little outdated. It's slightly outdated, but well, yeah. So I was like, I'm not going to update it before we go out there because hopefully I'll be able to add a 4. After tonight, I can add 2 more. So I was like, you know what? I'll just wait it out because we're going to have 4 after
And
tonight.
guys, a national championship photographer from the college football playoff was walking on the outside of the stadium looking for fans, and she stopped, walked back past Ella, stopped, turned around, and then walked over there to get a shot of Ella's jacket. So I don't know if they thought she was a fan or if they knew she was on TV or not, but regardless, this jacket should be photographed, clearly.
Hey, Ella,
look, I'll post the link to the guy who gave me the jacket. He's about to get a lot. There have been so many people. Someone called into the station to ask me where I got the jacket, so he's going to get a lot of orders on that jacket.
Hey, real quickly, guys, before we let you go, grab a couple of those fans and let's see who they're wagering on, who they're rooting to win, whether they're from TCU or Georgia. We want to hear what they think this final score is going to be.
We've got to wait now. See, now there's no fan around.
There's no fans around us right now.
There's literally no fans around us right now. But I can tell you,
who are those people right there?
They're not fans, I don't think.
They're not in purple or in red. Who wants to hear from them, man? They don't even know who's playing tonight.
They'll be unbiased.
There's some of the media I thought it would pass on.
This is Sean's favorite thing to do.
Hey guys, who do you think's going to win tonight?
Getting reporters to do things live on TV.
This is something I've learned today. This is what a horned frog. And did you guys know a horned frog isn't? Yeah, this isn't actually a horned frog. Is not a frog. It's a lizard. Did you know that?
Have you seen one?
Look it up. A horned frog is actually a lizard.
They do the little horned frog thing like you were doing, Ella.
They look like little demons. Well, you guys be
I mean,
safe
it's
out
not
there.
a cute logo. UGA is definitely better than a horned frog. I'll send it back to you guys on that, all right?
No contest. I couldn't agree more. All right, guys, we'll talk to you soon. Let's head over to Patrick Quinn. He's a little bit further outside of SoFi Stadium. This is a beautiful facility. And Patrick, you've gotten a chance. You got a behind-the-scenes tour of SoFi. I mean, if anybody from Atlanta News First knows what's going on out there, it is you, my friend.
I'm just an expert on SoFi Stadium. I don't know what to tell you, and yet I will not be watching the game from inside SoFi Stadium. But I can tell you a lot about the stadium. It was $4 to $5 billion speculated. I mean, it's just massive. If you look at it right here from afar, you can really see the shape, the design of it. It is an open air facility, so weather could play a role tonight, and it's really cool. It's dug 100 feet into the ground. That's because they didn't want to interfere with the flight path of LAX, the airport, which is just around the corner, and you're seeing some fans start marching their way to the stadium. This is the path to SoFi, and you're starting to see the Ants marching all the way there. It's been really fun just to kind of get caught up with the fans today and see how they're feeling. I don't know about Rob and Ella. I wouldn't say it's quite 50-50. I'd say 60-40 Georgia, a lot of red and black. I will agree that it does seem that, like, go Dogs. It does seem like that TCU fans really came out of the woodwork today, but here we are, less than an hour until kickoff, and we were able to see fans as they hunkered down into breweries earlier. Some turned to tailgating just outside of the premises of SoFi Stadium. And this brewery that you're seeing right here, this was supposed to be a group of 4 to 5 people. The brewery itself is actually closed today, but a Dogs fan just called them up and say, hey, I think it's in your best interest to open up today, and they did, and the people just started showing up. How are we feeling?
We're good. I live here, and it never rains, so I'm a little bit bummed out that this is happening to all my friends who are visiting. And but other than that, the nice thing is there's a cover on the stadium, so we just got to survive and get through and be ready to go once game time. We won't be wet once that starts.
Yeah, won't be wet, but you may be a little bit cold. It is a little chilly out here. And we have talked with Dogs fans. You got to remember, they're not just from Georgia, not just from Atlanta, but South Georgia, a lot of them. That guy you just heard from, he lives here in LA. I've talked to some from Utah and Colorado and St. Louis. It's just now all migrating to where we're standing right now. And gosh, I mean, we've just been building and building and building up to this moment, and I myself am just so pumped for kickoff to start. I can hear the roar of the crowd. We're almost there, guys.
All right, 40 minutes away, a little under that. Patrick, thanks so much. We'll talk to you soon.
Well, there is no shortage of excitement here at home. Chelsea Beinfor, she is live at the Battery in Cobb County. That's a local spot where fans are already starting to gather, Chelsea.
Sean, for the folks that didn't go to LA, we found them. There's a whole bunch of them here live at the Battery. Look at this sea of red and black in here. We're less than an hour to kick off, but some of these people started showing up at 4:30 today to get their seat. We got the drinks flowing, the food is going, all kinds of family in here watching the game. And we also spoke with one fan, though, who did make the trip out to LA. He's in SoFi Stadium right now, and this was a very special trip after some health problems caused him to miss the 2018 Rose Bowl. Here's his story.
Every piece on here has some meaning to me in some way.
This is David Brock's Little Slice of Paradise.
Of course, we got the national championship bottles from last year.
Posters, paintings, photos, mugs, flags, and helmets, all lining his red and black basement bar room, which is mostly devoted to the University of Georgia.
It just brings back old memories of great times we had in Athens.
David is a UGA grad. So is his wife, Susan, daughter, Savannah, and son, Bailey, named after UGA football legend and Hall of Famer Champ Bailey.
Both of our children, we were starting to take them to games when they were 3 years old.
For more than 20 years, the Brocks have spent most football Saturdays in the same 4 seats inside Sanford Stadium. So when the Dogs traveled to Paradise in Pasadena for the Rose Bowl, David planned a secret trip for his dog-loving family.
When we accepted the bid to the Rose Bowl in 2017, I secured tickets, but I didn't tell the kids that, and we did surprise them.
Will you accept our rose?
We made a little video that we were going to go out, all 4 of us as a family, down to Pasadena and enjoy, what was going to be a once-in-a-lifetime experience for all of us.
But just days before the game, that once-in-a-lifetime trip to California was canceled. After some mild chest pains, David's doctor told him he needed double bypass open heart surgery.
He told me bluntly that if you would have gotten on that plane for Pasadena, you wouldn't have come home.
Naturally, David had the surgery in Athens at Piedmont Regional, not far from campus. He made it through and watched the Dogs clinch the 2018 double overtime Rose Bowl victory. But admittedly, he was sad not to see it in person. Fast forward a few years and a few lifestyle changes later, and David is back to normal. A clean bill of health allowed him to travel to Indianapolis last year, where the Dogs won it all for the first time in more than 4 decades.
I mean, it all hit me at once. I was a flood of emotions for Georgia winning. I had tears of joy for that, but I'm not ashamed to say this. I actually sobbed a little in the stadium then as well, because thinking about, how God had graced me to get to that point and get through what I did, to be able to experience something that, frankly, after those 41 years, I thought I'd never get a chance to experience ever again.
I just love that story. Really cool. Dog fan. The dogs mean a lot to a lot of people. Look at everybody here ready to watch the dogs play. I got to toss it back to you guys, though, because I'm trying to get home and watch this game with my mom. So shout out to my mom and Go Dogs. Back to you guys.
Go
Mom, hello.
Thanks, Chels. All right, well, you can imagine how exciting it's going to be in Athens.
Yeah, huge.
If the dogs go back-to-back tonight. Adam Murphy, live at Athens right now, where students are gathering to watch the dogs game live on the big screen, Adam.
Well, let me tell you, we are now on top of the Georgia Theater right here in downtown Athens. It's a rooftop bar. It's outside. It's packed. You can see behind me getting ready for the game. Let me show you over here, though. This is a sneak peek out over East Clayton Street in downtown Athens. The road is blocked to through traffic the rest of the night. There are people lining the streets out here. Everyone getting so excited. They've got some of that Bulldog music playing. I've got Karen. Now Karen has come all the way from Maine to watch this game here in Athens. Tell me why.
I was born and raised in Athens. I went to school here in Athens, and I came here from Maine this morning at 5 a.m. to watch this game in Athens. Go Dogs!
Nothing better than Bulldog country for a game, right?
Absolutely. Best place to be. Go Dogs!
And the vibe up here, the energy is exciting, right? Everybody's getting really pumped. You can feel the energy building.
It's awesome. It's almost better than being LA. I think today, being here right now in Athens, Georgia, is the place to be.
Karen, thank you so much. Appreciate you being in Bulldog country. All right, guys, that's it. We're getting revved up right here in the heart of downtown Athens, GA. How about them dogs?
Go Dogs.
Oh, man, wouldn't you love to see her in New England, you know, and the reaction of people to hear that?
She just yelling "Go Dogs" at everybody she walks by. We take a live look at the field there, SoFi Stadium. You can see a lot of the players coming out now, getting warmed up for tonight. Our coverage of chasing the championship not over. We've got you covered up to kickoff.
And all of the excitement from fans, players, and everything in between on Atlanta News First next. We'll be right back. Go Dogs.